Hey, hello guys. Today we will look into the SSL termination demo with the help of the Nginx and ocelot gateway. Okay, so here we will make a HTTPS request. So that HTTPS request will hit to the Nginx SSL termination, and then it will then navigate to the API gateway, ocelot API gateway that is hosted on the 8050, and then it will route to the order web API. So it is hosted on to the 8030, and the same the response will go back to, through the API gateway and so Nginx. Okay, so let's try to understand how the that Nginx is configured. Okay, so here I have created one Nginx application. Yeah, so this is here Nginx configuration. It is there. Okay, so here I have created the events, Nginx events that will listen the Nginx events. Okay, as of now, this is empty, and so I have configured the server, so that will listen to the that our SSL. Okay, so whenever we hit to the that HTTPS endpoint, okay, so this will goes to the this will find the locations. Okay, so where it is it is the forwarding, it is forwarding to that proxy path. Okay, so this is the gateway proxy. Here I have here you can see that it is the upstream, it is there, gateway proxy, it is there, and it is pointing to the furthermore the server gateway 5080. Okay, so we will check, we will look into the how the gateway 8050 it is there. Okay, so here you can look into the docker compose YAML. Here created three services. One, it is the Nginx service, another one it is the gateway service, and the last one it is the our web API service. Okay, so here the Nginx service, it is um, targeting to the port 443. It is the HTTPS port. Okay, so here mounted some volumes along with their Nginx configuration. That is nothing but that recently we have looked. Okay, so this is the one, and so it is the some certificates are there, SSL certificates. Those are manually configured. So that certificates we can manually configure using the OpenSSL. Okay, so you can refer the OpenSSL for the generating the uh, your own signed SSL certificate. Okay, so ultimately this Nginx is the depends on the gateway. Okay, so gateway, because we are pointing to the our gateway server. Okay, so here the gateway then it is hosted on 8050, and so it is depend on the order service. Okay, so till now we have looked so how the means configuration Docker YAML is it is arranged. Okay, so now we will look into the how the request flows from the API gateway to the that our web API. Okay, here we have configured the ocelot JSON. Here this is the gateway application I have created, and it is having the ocelot JSON. Okay, so here we are specifying what is the base URL. So it is the base URL, it is the gateway base URL, it is there, and so it is nothing but this is what gateway it is there. Okay, it is pointing to 8050. Okay, so whenever the any request comes from the our Nginx, so it will target to the gateway 8050, and so ocelot will capture that one as it is the base URL, it is pointed here. Okay, so now the furthermore, then it will go. It will route to the downstream template. Okay, so it is the pointing to the order service and port 8030. Okay, now let's dive into the code. First of all, we will look how the gateway is generated. Here, I'm creating an application that will have the HTTP. Okay, so here it is the HTTP. We need to look into this one very precisely. This is the HTTP and this is the 8050. Okay, that is nothing but our gateway will get mounted. And here I am telling system to bind that ocelot.json to that application. Okay, so add the ocelot, and ocelot will refer to that JSON file and use ocelot is this will uh, this middleware will help to run the gateway. Okay, so when the app.runs is started, so your API gateway will get up. Okay, so what are the dependencies here I have referred? So this is the ocelot, it is there. Okay, so now then we will look into the how the order service it is arranged. Okay, so this is the totally decoupled application. So it is nothing to do with the ocelot. Okay, so here this is also HTTP and this is the pointing to the 8030, and here it is pointing to the API orders. One endpoint, it is minimal API, it is there. Okay, and now this is the Docker file for building the application. Okay. Mhm. So this Nginx we already have discussed. So let's try to run the application docker compose.yaml. Okay. Here we will go cmd docker compose up. Okay. It is being the application also is getting built. So we can see it is building now the order service, and we can check also the docker compose will get up here in some time. Okay, so nginx also it is hosted here. Okay, we can see that port it is 443. It is nothing but pointing to the https. Okay, okay, so let's stop this nginx. So delete this one, delete forever. Let's try running it. The container name nginx already in use by container. Okay, so I have deleted that one. So docker compose down. Now docker compose up. Okay, so now we will detach it. Okay, so now we will try to run the endpoint. So here only the local host it is there. It is saying that this certificate is not valid or something because this is not a certified authority. Okay, so we will click on the proceed to local host. Yes, now you can see this is the local host, the orders. Okay, and so it is routing through the our Nginx and the API gateway. So it is pointing to the API order. Okay, so API order returning this result. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, so laptop, phone, the orders. Okay, so it is the HTTPS, and so the ultimately this certificate is not certified authority. It is not there, so that is why it is striking out not secure. And so localhost it is simply localhost and the orders. Okay, so here client HTTPS, HTTPS request goes to the Nginx. Okay, and it is then SSL termination happens here, and then it is pointing to the our API gateway ocelot port 8050. Okay, and so it is pointing to the route order to the downstream API orders. And the same way the response it is being generated. This is the JSON response. Then it is converted to the HTTP response, and then HTTP response it is encrypted there. Okay, so let's look into the first of all this one. This is the HTTP request here. Here it is listening here. Okay, and then it is pointing to the this location. Okay, so it goes to the gateway proxy. Okay, and so means this is nothing but the SSL termination it is happen here. Okay, so whenever we are doing the listening the port over here SSL port, so where and then we are passing the specifying the proxy pass, it means that this is the SSL termination it is a happen here. Okay, so then it will point it to forward to the API gateway. Okay, so this is the gateway proxy, and this gateway proxy it is we have created using the upstream, and it is the server. Okay, server is pointing to the gateway 8050, and so ultimately that is the gateway here we have launched. Okay, and then the gateway after that it will come to the ocelots. So here the this will listen the then it will listen the 8050 also, and so API orders it is this upstream then will catch the orders, and then it will point to navigate to the API orders, and then API orders will have this is one. Okay, it will. So this is how the response will get generated. Okay, so in this way we can integrate uh, furthermore APIs to secure applications. If you are to communicate your microservices within the same same Kubernetes cluster and so on, so you can go with the SSL termination concept. Okay, so that's all from my end. Okay, thanks for watching the video.